Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of East Indies. In this week's episode, we're going to build a Desa, or a Kampong. Basically, in Holland, when we talk about a Kampong, we talk about a settlement or a area within some other space. It is an Indonesian or Malaysian word, if I recall. I think Desa is actually a settlement, and Kampong is more like an area within the settlement. But for the sake of simplicity, we'll just go for Kampong. But please, Indonesian followers or people who speak or know more about the language, correct me if I'm wrong, because there's a good chance I am wrong. I don't know that much about Indonesia. I chose the location of this place quite near the palace because I like the barrier of the river, and on the other side, it's more like a poor and rich kind of thing. The big palace right next to the slums. I like that idea because kampongs aren't great. They don't have running water or sewage or anything, and there were lots of attempts by colonial Dutch to try and make it to fix this, to make them more Western, reformed. I guess that's the word. I'm not sure how that worked out. I saw some sketches and maps of kampongs with public restrooms, sewers, and more cleaned up version of a kampong. But it's basically, in European eyes, it's close to a slum. And I don't really know how Indonesian people would look towards it. I might sound a little bit different. I have a cold, so my bad. My nose is all stuck up, so I sound a little bit weird, but doesn't matter. I uploaded the first episode last week, and I was overwhelmed by all the responses. I think it did like 3,000 views in like in a weekend, which is way more than I usually reach. So thank you all for the support. I am now, so this is the third or fourth episode which I am editing. So by the time you guys see this, we're probably a month forward from the time I released the first episode. But I am very thrilled about the response, and I'm also very happy about the response of the Indonesian community, because I was quite worried about the again, about me talking about Indonesian history while being on the kind of evil side of history, or at least my country was. Anyways, I am really, really not sure how a kampong needs to look. I am just improvising, and I took photos from an archive, and there are so much different looks, and there are kampongs in the mountains which were really actually quite pretty with very nice historical houses from Indonesia, but there are also kampongs in cities like Surabaya, Batavia, Bandung, which were pretty bad. So I hope I'll do it justice. I do like how it's starting to turn out within the city. It really instantly brings the feeling of oppressor, not oppressor, Europeans, non-Europeans. It really separates the two people, which is kind of course, what happens. It's really bad, but it is what happened. You just like 10 minutes ago probably, you saw me building this neighborhood, and I then removed everything again because I thought I used too much of the corrugated steel roofs, and I know they were already there, but I noticed in the kampongs in the cities they often have those grass roofs, so that's why I'm using this kind of European longhouses, but they do kind of resemble houses in Indonesia, so I'm happy I choose those. And then I really wanted it to be on the water side, because again there was no running water or anything, so I reckon everyone in the towns would wash their clothes and that stuff in the water, so I thought it was important that there were some canals or some small ditches surrounding it, so that's why I choose to add these canals. And again, using Sully's water tool, which made it so much easier. I wish I had that years ago, to add a river or water works within a city. It's fantastic. Here I'm adding some vegetation to the first part of the neighborhood. I'm just making a mix of bushes, large leaf trees, palm trees, but I'm also trying to incorporate some just other types of trees, because the stereotypically thought of Europeans is that pretty much whole Asia is filled with palm trees, but of course it is all types of trees. And Indonesia has an amazing lush vegetation of all types of trees, and even I think lots of European trees, because the Dutch imported loads of even I think spurs and that kind of stuff are also growing there because we made plantations there. Here you see me adding the second canal, and it was kind of cool because I suddenly thought if I add another canal in another part of the neighborhood, I could make this really cool road in the middle where all the cars would be parked. I know these people probably wouldn't have cars, but and I could like line them up with big palm trees, and so that's what I did. I added this extra canal, and here you see me try to make the pedestrian roads work. And the first thing I'm gonna add to this area is a wall next to the tram line, so I guess it's separated from, again, the European population, and then there's this school. And it is a little bit of a nicer building, because I thought probably there will be some people donating or like giving money to the poorer neighborhoods, and they might have donated this school. And then just filling up again with all these small slum-like buildings. But I try to make it look, well, not really like it is all messed up. I like it to make it look like there's a variety of buildings with small farms in between and that kind of stuff. So I really am enjoying how this is turning out, and it's going to be tucked in between other neighborhoods and areas. So. And here I'm adding more bridges and upgrading this waterways to be just a canal instead of this concrete canal, because I assume the concrete canal would only be in the middle of the city and would turn into like a river or a pond going out towards the ocean. So now we passed halfway into this video. I was wondering, is there something you guys want me to build? I usually just make up things myself, but I thought it would be cool because especially lots of you guys are from Indonesia. Is there something you want me to go, well, more into detail with? Like, do you want me to build, let's say, a harbor, an airport, but it could also be like a religious building, like a mosque, or like a grand park, or whatever you think is cool. I do like to incorporate every type of building which you would saw there, like a big bank and like everything you need to make a city function. But if you have something which would be really cool, or like an example of a building somewhere in Indonesia which would be really cool to incorporate, leave it in the comments. I will look at it, and I might even model something if you have a good idea or a really awesome building. But do keep in mind, this build is in the 30s, so the building has to be a little bit older than a modern building, of course, because it has to be built within the time period. Now I'm adding this road, and this road will eventually go towards the coast, where I am planning some kind of recreational area on the beach. But this will be a road often used by the colonial Dutch. So right behind it, behind the wall, is the Kampong tucked away. Because these stores will probably be used by the Dutch colonials. And I guess no Dutch people would actually go into the kampongs, because that's how segregation works, right? I know these buildings wouldn't be used by Indonesians because lots of the buildings had signs saying no inlanders, which is really racist and says, well, no people from inside the country allowed. But the other way around, I don't think any Dutch people would wander into one of the kampongs if explicitly necessary. So that's how the weird segregation works. Here I'm adding a really basic bridge, which turned out pretty good if you ask me. I have to add 2 of them, and I didn't really have a plan, but I wanted to keep them like this dirty dirt road look. Later on I will cancel parking on the bridge as well, but this is super basic, but it works. I'm adding some railings, and yeah, it's a good one if you don't know how to build a simple bridge. Well, this is the way, here you go. Yeah, here I'm disabling parking. And what you will see me do now is adding these roofs. I have these roof assets which I'm adding all over the place, and it gives this more of a uniformal look to the buildings, and it instantly makes them look more Dutch for some reason. So I started with doing it at some buildings, and now I'm trying to add like every building which I can. I'm adding these types of roofs because this was something you saw a lot in the Dutch East Indies. These red tiles Dutch roofs, and they work great with any colonial building. So the architecture buildings are the ones from Brazil or Caribbean or Cuba. If you add a Dutch roof to it, it looks instantly Dutch. So yeah, a small trick there. Anyway, so we're nearing the end of the episode actually. So if you guys haven't done yet, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot, of course. I'm also on Patreon. You get early access and you get access to all the assets I use. And if you want to support me there, you can. But your support is following along on my project. So guys, this was the episode for this week. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. This was Jazz. Bye.